So I'm out here working on my little tiny 6x12 backyard shack that we built at a workshop with my good buddy Deke last November. And I think I'm going to dub it the Tan Cave because obviously it's going to get a lot of light during the day. And later on I'm going to figure out a solution to that to help control the heat when it gets a little bit too hot. But for now I'm working on this little spot. I thought I'd take you guys along this little 4-inch gap that runs along the side of the door on the south side of this little building. I'm scratching my head on what I want to do, and I think I figured it out. So I thought I'd take you guys along. So in the workshop that we had last November, Deke asked for people to bring some random pieces of wood that we'd help incorporate into this building. Here's some stuff that was left over. Actually, these little pieces right here are what I used to, as the corner boards, as the trim for the flooring that I did not too long ago, and I took you guys along in a video of that. But someone brought these little things along. I'm not sure what they're for. I probably should know. They're like there's some sort of headboards, or I'm not sure. But we're going to disassemble those, and we're going to use those as the gaps to help fill the gap in this 4-inch piece of the wall. I'm not sure if you guys like these kind of videos where I just take you along for little small projects. If you do, please let me know in the comments, and if you don't, please let me know also. I just think it's kind of interesting how you can take some scrap stuff and just kind of make it into something usable. I'm not saying you would use this type of wood in your actual tiny house build, but maybe in a backyard shack or something like I have. But hey, maybe you would. That's totally up to you. So now I'm just going to kind of break this thing apart. These are what we're after. So we're going to use the little pieces of wood to go along vertical all the way down. And right now there's nothing to attach those two. So we're going to put that trim all along the side right here, and that'll help us tap into those. So what I've done is I've measured the actual thickness of this wood, and that's how far I'm recessing this trim molding back. And that will help it set flush once we tack it in. Got some rain coming in, so I have to postpone this until weather clears out. Alright, the weather cleared out a little bit, so now we're back to the process of getting this whole thing filled in. So I've already measured in the whole way down. This spans about 4 inches is the width. So now we start the laborious process of cutting all this wood up into 4-inch pieces. So that's what we're going to do now. A quick tip, or I guess I should say a quick warning when you're using these miter saws is, I've seen in the past where people try to stack these and cut two at the same time just to save time. And I can understand why they want to do it, but it's a bad idea because more times than not, since this piece isn't flush with the ground, I've seen it where the saw actually hits the wood, it'll go spinning and flying out, which is kind of scary. And as always, of course, use eye protection when you're using these things. They can be very dangerous, but also really good and helpful tools if you use them properly. All right, I'm back out here on another day. It's a beautiful sunny day in North Carolina. Started working my way down, putting a couple of these in there. I actually had to go get some different brad nails because what was happening was the ones I had were too long. I just wasn't thinking, and they kind of poked through. So we got some, let's see here, 3/4 inch brad nails. So now we're just cutting it, going down the line. So lately I've seen a lot of dismay on the social networks about the tiny house scene and what's going on in terms of there being a lot of kind of cookie cutter tiny houses out there. And I tend to agree. There's some cookie cutter ones out there that are starting to kind of look like they came off an assembly line. But for those who are kind of interested in living in a tiny house, not just for themselves, but kind of the greater good, the whole scene is kind of like the collective, I guess you could say, conscience of a lot of people getting together and doing this type of thing to help save the planet. You know, being eco, and not just that, but to kind of get out of financial issues and things like that. They need to realize that taking the tiny house plunge, moving into a tiny house regardless of what it looks like, I feel is a good thing. And I think people should kind of remember that and focus on that instead of kind of putting down other people's tiny houses or saying, hey, this is cookie cutter, you should do something funky. Just my 2 cents. So there's the finished product. It has kind of a washed out look to it, which I think is cool. So what we did was we just took some old scrap wood, filled in a 4-inch gap along the side, and the next step, which I don't have any right now so I won't show it on film, but it's pretty easy. You'll just take some clear silicone and put between each gap because, like I said earlier in the video, each of those small pieces aren't tongue and groove.